we've again abstracted the sample names, right? And then we run our shell command, right? And after that, we want to run shovel as our next process. But see how we've defined our input. So our input, R1 is rules output.R1 here. And R2 is our rules output 2, which we capture here. Okay? And our output, which we call final there, will be this file, right? Again, abstracting our root directory, whatever. And this is the shell command that we want to execute. This is the shovel command we want to execute. So we provide our output directory, we abstract our sample names, we provide our input.r1, and R2 is our input.r2, which we get in from here. So that's a two-step workflow in Snakemake. You know, that's just going to make your work a little bit easier and have less headache. Okay? And you can run that over and over. And it doesn't matter, wherever you get a new project where you want to run this process, a new data set, you simply run the same. It doesn't matter the name of the files. You don't have to specify. That will just be the script you're going to put into your container or in your working directory. And you can execute this via Docker. For example, you can install Shovel on Docker. Maybe you'll get to see how we can do that. And have a fully reproducible workflow. And that one that I can share with Kibet. All I can put on GitHub and allow access to it. And you see a lot of these types of scripts. Yes, Khadija?
Just a naive question.
Yes.
So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking of a well-scripted bash script that can have all this in one. Different inputs, different outputs. What's the advantage of Snakemake over having a shell script with something similar? A similar job.
It depends on your skill level. Yeah. Bash is fantastic, but it can bite you. Writing a really safe bash command can be really difficult. You know, taking care of errors, what happens when your script doesn't execute. You know, I'll show later on that, you know, with Snakemake, you can cache your errors, you can have logs and so on and so forth. You can do the same thing with the bash. It's just that it might take a little bit more time. And to really write a nice, good, safe bash script is not trivial. Okay? It's really not trivial. So again, it's the same thing we were weighing, you know, ease of use, richness versus, you know, what you want to do. Okay? So Snakemake just made that, in my opinion, really easy to write than bash. If I was to write these two processes in bash, I think this, to me, does look more easy. And it's more portable. And two, I don't have to really worry where I run this script. Whether it's on my local PC, it will run. If I take it to the HPC, it will run maybe with minimal alterations. Okay? All I need to ensure is that maybe Snakemake is my path and so on and so forth, and I got the same, you know, sort of directory structure. Okay? Maybe John will show us how we can do something similar using another workflow like Nextflow, for example, and how it abstracts the same concepts. The concepts don't change. You got processes, you got input, you got output, you want to cache logs, and so on and so forth. So it's the same thing, yeah, overall. So here Phil is illustrated for us sort of a three-step Snakemake. In this case, I think it's just the same thing we had, but then he's introduced something, sort of one rule to rule them all. Okay, so you got a rule all. Okay, and the rule all, what it's going to do is that the input is, you know, this expansion here, and the, you know, rule dir, it's going to cache all that, and you can see that, I mean, it's the same thing here. We had the BBDAC script and the shell and input and output and so on and so forth, right? And we've just abstracted all our inputs from the previous way that we had written them. Okay, so in here, we had specified our root dir and so on, and we can abstract that into a rule that sort of caches that for us. Okay, here. Okay, which now specifies our input command. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah. So again, I think we've always done this one way, directly or indirectly. And the way this is working is that internally, Snakemake is converting our snake file into what you call a directed acyclic graph. How many of us have covered graphs, graph theory? We know about acyclic graphs, directed graphs. John?
Just slightly.
Yeah. Just yeah, go ahead and explain to us maybe what do you understand by that, those terminologies.
So in that example, we see that I can label them as nodes, the
Yeah?
sort of rectangular thing,
Yeah.
and the arrows will be the edges.
Yeah.
So it's directed in a sense that from one node you go to the next. I mean, you know the flow.
Yeah, you know the direction. Yeah. 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 So that's what has happened. And often when you're thinking about bioinformatics workflows, you always have these sort of processes. So you can think of it as a graph. Okay. So here, we got some couple of steps. Download a genome and compress. So often it'll be like compressed, uncompress, index your genome, download your data. This could come from wherever. Map your reads, index your genome using SAM tools. Import SAM tools, sort, index, sorted, create your pile up, and you make your VCF, your variants. Right? So you can write a workflow, and indeed, I think Snakemake does also output for you the directed graph if you ask it. And that's really nice. You might want to share that with your reviewers and say, this is the workflow, and these were the steps. And sometimes, depending on the complexity of your workflow, it's always nice to have a visual interpretation or a visual cue to see what exactly is happening under the hood. Okay, so yeah, practical one. We're able to access the internet, aren't we? Yeah, so we could go to, I did get this here. I'll just ask you to go through here. So what Phil wanted us to do was just to make use of materials that are already available. There are a number of tutorials and explanations. So if we can just go through it. I've done most of the talking to cover this bit, but it's nice if you can go through it. So if you just go to your browser, and let me try to borrow this a bit. I don't know whether this is visible from here. Essentially, you can just Google Snakemake, and if you Google Snakemake, you go to the tutorial here, the documentation, and go to the basics and an example workflow, and there's all this. This is what we were really going through, and I think there should be Snakemake installed in your directory. You can create a directory. What I didn't do was, I don't know whether we have files that we can work with, but I don't know whether I can maybe provide that, or we can download some files. Yeah, we have some test data because they are missing here. I can try and generate some test data for us. I'll put them in the whatever flow, should be fine. Yeah, but essentially the idea was to go through this tutorial here. and it's what Lydia have gone through, and you can see at the end of the day, once you understand all that, you'll find the full script over here. What I've not provided, maybe I'll provide you with the genome.fa and FASTQ. That's what I've not provided. But if you have some of your own, feel free to make use of them. But in the meantime, I'll try and generate that.